Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We are on episode number 61. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me is the man I miss most, Mandrew Montemayor.
I miss you too. You know, I was looking down at your can, and it says Fresh Haze, and I thought, I know you told me that before, but like looking at it right now, I thought it said Fresh Hazel. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good. But I forgot I already drank the beer beforehand. I realized it was good.
We're already a few sips in. Yeah, so this beer, guys, was suggested from John Tovitz, and this is the Deschutes Fresh Haze IPA, sitting at 6.5%, brewed in Bend, Oregon. Now, every Deschutes I've ever had has always been a dark beer. I didn't know it came in fresh hazes or anything like that.
Dark.
I was scared because when I smelled it at first, I wasn't ready for it, and maybe it's just because I'm not a big fan of like an IPA. But once you start drinking it, I mean, how fresh is it?
Hey, I want to thank you because I actually thought it was good. I actually thought it smelled good, and surprisingly, Craig was going to be critical of this beer.
It offended my nostrils.
I can already feel it coursing through my veins.
That's a hard 6.5. It would never be my first choice at a bar, but I mean, if I'm at a friend's house and that's what they got, I'm not going to drink it. So
I might have this at a bar, like ice cold, and I would only have one. Don't get me, probably like a 16 before I move on.
Yeah,
to something
maybe in a
else.
draft it would totally can change it than coming out of a can, and maybe that's why it's just not right. I mean, I don't hate it, but I mean, I'm not gonna make my worst enemy drink it.
Might also be because Craig serves us warm beer.
These are ice cold, baby. You just put them on the table.
They weren't as cold as those seltzers last week.
Those seltzers were freezing. So, guys, let's move into the big topic of today. The PlayStation 5 showcase live stream that aired on Wednesday, September 16th, just came out. It showcased a bunch of games. It showcased a lot of new information. It was a probably healthier hour or so show. So before we dive into it, I really liked the show. I thought, pending things that happened afterwards, it was probably the best thing we've seen since the last PS5 show. What was your initial thoughts on it?
I felt like that was like an E3 show. I thought it was actually really
E3
good.
worthy for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, but then it ended up just getting marred by poor messaging, and that's like I've never seen something like be retroactively worse because of really bad messaging or suspect messaging.
I saw so many things right afterwards that when people like live watching it, they're like, best show ever, blah blah blah, and then sure enough, an hour later, I get the call and the bomb hits. So let's move into it. We're kind of going to reverse order this. It went games and then kind of the big news. We're going to start with the big news because we want to let you guys know what's out there. So PlayStation 5 finally showed their price, and their price tag is $499 for the regular PS5 and then $399 for the PS5 digital. So that's going to be just like the regular PS5 but just missing the optical disc. It also showed that it's going to have its launching date November 12th, and that's going to be in certain territories like US, Canada, Mexico, Japan, Australia, things like that. And then it's going to have a worldwide launch date of November 19th. I mean, we're looking at those dates. You're looking at those numbers. Thoughts, my man?
No, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I didn't think that the price was going to come in that low. So I wonder if they either shifted it or maybe that's really what they were going for. So I think that's like very competitive because now, no matter what you want, there's a console at every SKU for you. You have the S at $299, digital for $399, or $499.
A couple of bangers at $499
for either or. And I wonder, and there's been a rumor too that Xbox might have a digital. So I wonder if maybe they'll have something else to come out of that price too, and that'll even be even more of a competition. But I mean, either way, it's definitely better than the doom and gloom from the start of this year. Where it was all $700, $800 consoles and whatnot, which I still would have bought it, but.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest reasons Sony and Microsoft had a staring match for so long. Sony definitely wanted to see what Microsoft was going to do. Microsoft is going to dropped it to $499 first for bringing their main console. Sony looked at him and said, you know what? We are going to match it, which is a bold move because the PS5, I think, could have been $100 higher, and I think it still would have sold. They would have
paid for it
just
for
as
sure.
well. And then the fact that their next console is only $100 less for the minus the optical disc is another great price because a lot of people were comparing it to the Series S, saying, oh, well, how come they didn't make theirs $299? Well, A, they didn't have to, and B, it's not a separate system. Like I don't think we went over that too carefully in the last episode. The PS5 digital and regular are the same console minus a disc. the Series X and the Series S are two different systems running different specs. So I think a lot of people got to keep that in mind. I think they easily could have been $100 up on both prices for the PS5, but the fact they came in $499 and it only went $100 less for the $399, I think PS5 was kind of like, okay, well, here we are too.
Let's just say at that price, I wouldn't even feel bad about giving one away, possibly.
Oh, he's always sneaking them in. But guys, what the real thing that is kind of PS5's big blunder is the fact that they were saying pre-orders were going to happen on September 17th. So that is the day we are recording. And the fact was supposed to be that if you entered your name into this, it was like a gamer tag drawing, you were supposed to get an email that gave you a private invitation to be one of the first people to pre-order it. And then it was going to be open to the fans. Well, unfortunately, that did not happen, Andrew. What actually kind of fell through the crack, slipped through my fingers?
Well, I think that actually did happening, but what that is
they have to check so much later, right?
That's only for Sony. I think that's only for Sony's website or Sony's partner. Or I don't know if they were, because they weren't very clear on it before. I don't know if they were supposed to tell you who was going to be able to do it, because they even said at the end of their thing, we'll let you know where you can pre-order from select retailers. They did not write to say Walmart, whatever. So pretty much every retailer who's worth their own salt told Sony to go fuck themselves and just made their pre-orders go live yesterday. Yeah. Literally like an hour after the press was done. I think people were already getting theirs secured, everything. So as of right now, even if you even try to look at places like Walmart, Target, GameStop, Best Buy, all gone. You can't get anything. So that was the thing a lot of people were pissed off about. And there's even jokes saying like, oh, well, at least Sony was true to their word. We didn't give you little to no any last minute notice. We just gave you no notice at all.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty funny, but again, that might not be Sony's fault. I don't know how they don't have some sort of control over something like that, but that did kind of screw over a lot of people, and they didn't say anything about it to where it is their product ultimately. I felt like they could have put out a tweet and said, hey, if you're looking for a console, you can get it at these other places, but we're still going to let you do our thing tomorrow straight from Sony.com, PlayStation.com, whatever their website's called or something like that. I think they kind of owed it to something like that, because there are a ton of people now, especially because I think there's only a certain allotment now until they get more. So there's a lot of people who didn't get anything. There could have been, that was 1 p.m. our time. That could have been 10 p.m. someone else's time. I stayed up. I watched the thing. I got work tomorrow. I'm going to get up and I'll get my pre-order tomorrow. You go to bed, you missed out.
Yeah, the big thing that they were saying is like, this is not going to happen. Jeff Keighley was talking to, you said Jim Ryan, right? And having having a whole interview saying things like, people are going to get a chance to get it. We're going to let you guys know it's going to happen. And then the fact that, I mean, I my whole day went by and I didn't know what was happening. I had a friend of mine text me and said, hey, I got my PS5. And I was like, oh, did you get the special raffle ticket? I didn't know that the whole thing blew up. I tried to look on. They're just completely gone. And I understand a lot of people's frustration because most of the times when you're seeing the PlayStation 5 showcase, like a video like ours on a thumbnail, a lot of these are going to be angry reactions. A lot of these people are blowing up the fact that, Sony did not give them courtesy time to at least try to get one. And it's very unfortunate. I do not know how you let something like this slip up, especially when like Microsoft retaliates with their tweet, which was hilarious.
Yeah, we'll let you know when.
Don't worry, guys, we got it. Which Microsoft actually came out today saying that theirs is at 8 o'clock on the 22nd. So, and that's our time, 11 o'clock Eastern. So, I mean, I don't know how Sony recovers, because that just put a lot of bad taste in people's mouth that were desperately waiting and took them at their word. Because that's what we're losing here is you lost them at their word that you weren't going to do that to them. Because the fact that this many people are going to get it versus this many people, that was going to happen anyway. X amount of people were going to get it and not get it. But it's the fact that they were waiting. They weren't, they told them, you guys don't need to be lining up at doors. You don't need to be waiting on your computer. We're going to let you know exactly when to do this. Don't lose a night's sleep. And that's exactly what it had to millions of people.
I think what was even funnier too is like someone like Geoff Keighley, as he was going through, was actually putting out a lot of information. It kind of seemed like it was more than what Sony was even doing. They were just kind of showing trailers and glossing over whatever. Like,
yeah, he was kind of keeping them up.
Yeah, he was doing up to date and everything. And so like there was a funny Twitter poll and it said whose Sony reveal did you like more? And it said PlayStation, or whose PlayStation reveal did you like more? And it said Sony's or Geoff Keighley's, and the majority was Geoff Keighley's.
Yeah, well, the man knows his stuff and he knows how to keep people entertained. And this is exactly why he's been saying for the last years, we need to reshape and retool cool the way we do certain things, especially from E3s. And
I think if anyone gets it, it's him.
Yeah, and obviously since COVID's happened, this is the first year anyone's been trying to do something new like this. And Keeley is always on top of it. He was asking the right questions, but I mean, the sour vinegar in everyone's mouth is just, well, now do I not get mine? Because I was hoping to try to pre-order one, the digital version day one, but I will check every other outlet. They're just gone, and it says, TBA coming soon, keep on standby. And Sony hasn't really even addressed it. They're not even saying like, hey, sorry, or hey, this
there's going to be more,
it's just
or
like,
something.
Yeah, it's just, wait. And the bottom line is we weren't lining up to get PS5s day one anyway. I would have liked to, but if all this means is that it's my purchase or our purchase is pushed back to, later next year, 2021, early March or something like that, I'm not dying.
It. But I do sympathize with those people who can't get one, and hopefully you do find yourself a copy.
Yeah, because there's a lot of big names out there that are Sony exclusive players that just got, skipped over, passed over, and felt just very betrayed. And
I was just showing them.
That's not what you want going into the next gen.
I was showing them right now. Another big YouTuber, like Angry Joe, who does all kinds of different stuff. By no means has some weird connection to Sony or something. He couldn't even get a copy or anything like that, and he just posted his video this morning. So
yeah, I think it's kind of funny that Sony is the second out of the Xbox of them two to show their show, first one to do pre-orders, and then they're the second one to come out in the market. So kind of a weird strategy, but it seemed to have worked for them.
I like that they're coming out on a Thursday, because I would have rather that, because then I could have just taken Friday off. Thursday, Friday, and just had a nice 4-day week off.
You've earned it.
I'm going to have to now at this point.
Yeah, and that was another thing I wanted to bring up is I think this might be, as far as I've looked up, the first time two systems have launched on the same week, especially that close to each other, since the 360 and the Wii did it way back then. So it's coming out on the 10th and the 12th. And I was asking Andrew earlier, it's got to just be because they want the launch window of things like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and a couple of other games.
Right, especially when they're so close in price now, too. Anybody could walk in there, there's no PlayStations? Sorry, would you like an Xbox? Sure, I'll settle for an Xbox or something like that. Or some kid who doesn't know better. Well, we don't have the Xbox, but we have the fucking Xbox, but we don't have the PlayStation. But it plays a lot of the same games. You wanted Assassin's Creed, you wanted Call of Duty, you want this, it's all right here too. So we'll just take one of those instead.
And with price points so similar to each other, nothing capping over 500.
Right.
I mean, it's an interesting move. It's just extremely unfortunate that these pre-orders got blown out of the water.
I will say, just to kind of maybe end on this, unless you have more, is that I hate the argument that I see lots of people saying you're grandma and you're going to go buy a console for Timmy and you got to get him whatever. And it's okay, well, if you're a grandma and you're going in there, whether or not you ask Timmy or something like that, okay, well, I can get this $299 console that plays a majority of the games these other ones can do that's also brand new. So what does it matter then what the console's labeled and what each one does or whatever? If you're going by, at that point, you're going by price point. If you're not in the industry, in the know,
right, you're
relying on the employee to be, well, why is that one different from that one? And if you say, it's just graphically, okay, then I'll take the $299 one.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Because there's so many people that are only brand loyal. And there's only, and it's usually the more extremer gamer that want a PS5 or an Xbox.
I guarantee you a 10-year-old opening an Xbox is going to be just as hyped opening a PlayStation.
I know I would be. So, I got nothing else to say on that unless you do.
Nope.
So the next thing they did do that was a pretty cool thing that the PlayStation 5 is going to have is they announced the PlayStation Plus collection. That's launching day one with the PS5. And essentially what this is an online library that's hosting a bunch of first-party and third-party PS4 games. Now, what this is going to be is if you're a PS Plus member, it's going to be an extra benefit for you. Now, these games are going to be, because it's only 18, Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, God of War, Infamous Second Son, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Until Dawn. Now, if a lot of people are going, this is their cool way to combat the Game Pass, and you can't be that silly to assume that, because the Game Pass dwarfs it in terms of size. And the way it's evolving, it changes every month with new games. But if you're gonna say pound for pound, if you were to take the top 18 games on the Game Pass and put it next to that list, it holds its own. Those are great titles, and I think what they're kind of aiming for, Andrew, is they want people on PS5 that if you're waiting for your big PS5 game to come out later in the year or next year, that you're going to be able to get this day one. And these are monster titles, like especially like God of War and Last of Us Remastered. Or if you're brand new and you never played any of these games, there you go, day one.
See, I don't have PlayStation, so I don't know, and anyone can correct us on this. I was looking online, and a lot of people, I seen that there were people that were like, okay, you know, this is cool, especially because I haven't been paying for whatever. But there's a lot of people who are like, okay, well, that doesn't really help me, because a lot of these games were already free on PlayStation Plus, so it pretty much seems like they're just rounding up, like, okay, you know, we're giving these people a second chance to re-download all these games. Either way, free games is free games, but...
I mean, free heats is free heats.
Yeah.
And again, so yeah, because I've played a lot of these games. I haven't played all of them. I've been waiting for a chance to play Detroit Become Human, and what was the other one that caught my eye? Well, we already beat Resident Evil 7, but you get it. It's there for you, and it's a nice stepping stone if they are going to try to do something Game Pass mirrored. Like if they keep adding that, and that 18 becomes 32 by 2021, and maybe 50. You know, if it keeps growing, that's pretty cool. The one thing I did notice that's missing is Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm curious of why that particular game, especially if you're trying to put the big PS4 first-party games on there, that one's missing.
Well, again, I don't know if Horizon Zero Dawn was free with PlayStation Plus, because that was things people were pointing out.
Oh, you're saying every one of those have been at one time like a Games with Gold?
And already like Games with Gold, like on the PS Plus, download it now, it's whatever. And people were like, well, where's Horizon Zero Dawn? And that game I don't think has been on the PS Plus list. I would have to Google it myself, because I was just reading about that a little bit earlier. So again, if I'm wrong, you know, feel free to put something in there.
Yeah, I think it's a solid choice though. Definitely a move in the right direction. Do you have any problems with any of those games, or anything that stands out that shouldn't be on their list? Or do you think that's all pretty monstrous looking games?
I mean, a lot of them are good. I think it's kind of weird that some are a little old. Like, Arkham Knight's good because it's by itself, but Battlefield 1, where do you have Battlefield 5 that's been out, and I don't know if it's free with EA Access, but I don't imagine that expensive that you could have put on there. Same thing with like Mortal Kombat X, and they even just came out with, you probably could have even done 11 without the Redux one that they just did, which was the Ultimate Edition or whatever that came with that standalone DLC that came out that expanded the story. You could have done either or of those, but other than that, you know, if it's anything you haven't played, again, it's kind of like the Game Pass. Okay, well, I'm buying my thing for day one. There might not be other games for me to play that are Sony exclusives, but I have this list of games maybe I haven't played. And I think that's more going to be for people that are just jumping ship. Like if I were to buy a PlayStation 5, I'd be stoked for that list because I haven't played a majority of those games.
You're brand new, you're hopping ship. Good point. I like that. So that's what they did, and my assumption would be that list has to grow. There's no way that thing just stagnates at 18 over the course of a year. I would assume that it's going to pick up and maybe start adding on older games.
Who knows if it'll even add? Maybe that'll be a limited time thing. Like, what if they were to just be like, okay, well, if you only had it within the first month, okay, now we're done. Now you gotta, because that kind of takes away from PS Now.
So you're saying be like timed games exclusives on the
something like
the way as it dwindled down?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if they could add to it because I feel like that detracts from like the PS Now value, which is something they're trying to push, which is why I feel they don't have something like a Game Pass.
Yeah, it's another good point. And that, you know,
so who knows?
You got to do the compare and contrast and see what they actually play. We'll know more as soon as it launches, and we'll see how it kind of evolves by the end of the year.
Right you are, Ken.
Right you are, Ken. So moving on, guys, we're going to finally get into the games of what they were showing off. We're going to go through a couple of them. We'll skim over some of the other ones. Andrew, if there's anything you want to stop on, just let me know, and I'll do the same. But I know the first game we're definitely going to talk about. So Final Fantasy 16, the first game they showed on the PS5 thing, they showed running on PC, which was interesting. But the game looked pretty cool. It looked interesting. It looked different. I mean, I know you've been wanting to talk about this. It was showing off that it was console exclusive, but I mean, walk me through a little more of where the blunder was on that.
So this is what I didn't like the most, is there were some games, there's mostly two of them that had really mixed messaging, but this one being the bigger one, it said console exclusive.
Hard.
And on PC. At the end of, as soon as Final Fantasy 16 is done playing, PlayStation 5 comes up, PS5, console exclusive, and PC. Then Square Enix re-uploaded this onto their website, or even on their Facebook, and it just says PS5 with a black screen. That's it. And then if you go to PlayStation's YouTube channel, they re-uploaded, again, this snippet, but they changed the end. It says console exclusive, in tiny letters, though, it says for a limited time is what it is. Coming to other platforms after a limited time or something like that.
Right.
And then there was even another guy who's an analyst. I have his name here. It's like Piers Harding, I think is what his name is. He says he's an analyst in the industry. I kind of looked him up a little bit, see what people had to say. And they said, I mean, he's a reliable guy. I don't know why he would go out on a limb and say something. But he said Sony, and he didn't even take it down. He even aptly defended whatever. And Sony has since not commented on anything, and Square Enix too, about it being on PC, even though that was during their actual presentation. But he said that the deal is that it's a 6-month exclusive for PlayStation, but a 1-year console exclusive. So people were trying to argue the way, I guess, that this breaks down, and what he was explaining is the game that will only be made for PlayStation. Whether or not they want to port it to anything else after that exclusivity comes up is up to Square, which, I mean, I could see that coming to Xbox after a year. That's just what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake. So either way, I didn't like the messaging that there's like 3 different things you can go look at that say 3 different separate things. And that was like the biggest, like, really kind of bad taste in my mouth. It's like, if you're a console exclusive, I get it. If 5 years down the road you port it to PC, the game rights sell and it goes to something else, that's not on you. But if you know for a fact that there's a possibility it could come to something else at a later time, don't put console exclusive on there. Just put
It's propaganda.
I don't know. I don't know what to put. And the thing is, if you had put the little asterisk for a limited time during your show, I would have felt better at that. Don't make me go to your YouTube channel that how many people were watching that versus how many people were watching the stream. Like, I get what it's for. I get that it's for the marketing. I get that it's for that push. But I thought it left a bad taste.
Yeah, it's the first of a lot of things. I mean, they started the show with this. It's the first thing out the gate where when it ended, it said Final Fantasy 16 console exclusive.
And I'm not even mad at the exclusive part either. That's a deal. It happens.
Although that's interesting that a game that now has, or Xbox has now gone out of its way to show that all the Final Fantasies are on like the Game Pass.
Right.
It's weird that 16 is going to be a console exclusive, and then they come to find out that it's not. And it's another one of these things where Sony's not even like, they're backpedaling and saying like, oh well, you know, it's this, it's that, but no one's apologizing for nothing. No one's like, the way this PR is looking is just like, they're definitely trying to make it show that Sony's going to be the place to get all this stuff. And it's not just the fact that it's a console exclusive. And
when it's really not.
As we grow up, you know, I feel like I was telling Andrew, the console exclusive definition just has to be changing. Like, from now on, every time I hear it, I'm just going to assume timed. Because that's essentially what they've been saying on a few of these things. Like, it's not a console exclusive. It's a console exclusive for a year, because the same thing happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake,
right?
And it would blow my mind if Sony got the rights exclusively for Final Fantasy 16 and it never came over to Xbox. Like Andrew was saying, if you know what's going to happen within a year, you don't use certain terminology.
Just put timed exclusive on there.
They're
like,
going out of their way to
cares?
act like that's a bad word. Timed exclusive rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but it's accurate information. It gives us a chance to go, oh, okay, it comes out in a year, not us raising flags and being like, well, wait, they have it now? That's Square's going exclusively with Sony? That's the new thing?
I think even if that was a thing, like, oh, timed exclusive for a year, there's a lot of people out there like, oh, I can't wait a year for something.
I enjoy it. Time exclusive. It gives me time. I'm going to have a busy fall. Like, if that time exclusive for a year, yeah, I'll catch 16. I still got to beat 15. I'm not in a rush to get 16.
Right, and I mean, it doesn't hurt me none, because I'll now be able to play Final Fantasy VII Remake on a better console than what I would have for my one. But I mean, outside of that, what did you think of the game?
The game looked interesting. Andrew and I compared notes. They were very similar. It looks like it's a single-player style type game.
They only showed one person,
which I thought was interesting. And to me, they didn't show any menus, and that's where I think Final Fantasy is kind of key in terms of how the game's going to be customizable, or at least in terms of utilization. I love the fact the way they're doing. I think they're calling them icons with all the summons. The summons look like big fucking like what's the Pacific Rim? What do they fight? The kaiju. That's what it reminded me of a big fucking kaiju. But we were landed on the same, like, what it looked like.
That Shiva redesign was cool. It was very like almost like Witcher kind of looking. It's definitely got like medieval vibes with like castles and like knights and stuff like that. But I almost kind of felt like, one, graphically it didn't look good. Some of the older games trailers look good, because I even watched someone who did like a compilation of like 12.
Well, it was running on a PC.
Yeah, they did like 13s, 15s, 14s, and like 12s, like all trailers, cinematic trailers and stuff like that. But I felt like the vibe was kind of off on this game too, and maybe it was just only seeing the one guy. Like, it almost kind of felt to me like this could have been like a side game, like Final Fantasy, like something Chronicle or whatever, not like a mainline series entry or whatever.
Yeah, not a hard 16 in the core system.
Yeah, either way, I think what they really kind of showed, they seemed like the trailer, which is like 6 minutes long, was mostly like 5 minutes trailer and 1 minute of gameplay, where normally it's the other way around, and that's kind of what I would have preferred, because I'm just seeing a lot of people walking around talking about this world, and give me that voiceover while I'm seeing like him play. Is there other people? Like, who knows what's going on? And of course, in typical Square Enix fashion, there's no ETA, so this game could be 4 years out, 5 years out, 6 years out.
And I think that was a lot of the problem with like what we're getting with the Final Fantasy 16 missed dates and a lot of other things, is that a lot of this stuff was like pre-taped footage. It doesn't seem like any of it was live. It seems like a lot of it was slide in date here, because a lot of things like holiday and this and that. It was like, and that's where these kind of blunders are coming in, where it's like, oh, well, we had that ready as a PS exclusive, but it really wasn't. We never added the something. I'm assuming maybe that's the technical difficulty they had, because a lot of that didn't make sense. And when I was rewatching it, I think I was watching the IGN stream. It was like an hour after it came on. I just thought it was just a laggy, experience on it. The game did look a little odd, a little off, but I can't tell how new that or how alpha that footage may or may not be. Because, I mean, if I'm only seeing one guy running around the same scenario, it looks like it might be just the first 15 minutes of the game, and maybe that's all they have. Because especially with no ETA, I mean, that could be next year, for all we know.
Yeah, who knows? I felt like I really wish it would have at least given a year.
Yeah, something, guys. Let us know. Anything else on that?
Nah.
So the next big one that I thought stole the show was the Miles Morales extended trailer that we saw. We saw Miles Morales in the last one. We kind of saw some quick snippets. This one extended into the gameplay. It kind of shows that it has this darker theme about it. It really showed off Miles's differential technique skills versus Peter Parker's. I mean, he was doing a lot more different things. It explains the fact that it's a year later after the original one. He's in Harlem. His mom's running for mayor. It showed that one of the main protagonists or antagonists is going to be the Tinkerer, which I thought was a really cool vibe for that. And so before we dive into...
It was a girl, right? Too?
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
It definitely sounded like a woman.
Yeah.
And, no qualms about
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and the way they're showing this technology, because they were showing, I think it was like the Roxanne versus the Underground is what the two groups or the two factions were. Other than that, they really streamed together the way the quick combos are going to work with the QTEs. And I gotta say, it looked fantastic, especially when he was doing the bridge scene. I was like, man, he is fucking strong, dude. He's pulling fucking the cement bridge just together.
I think that was like the worst part for me, just because I feel like that's overdone. Like that's
the staple. That's the trademark move. Yeah. That's not in a Spider-Man game. I'm not playing.
That's in Spider-Man 2. That was in the other Spider-Man with Tom Holland, where he's trying to save the boat from collapsing.
I love it.
Is the Tinker normally a male?
If I'm not mistaken, the Tinker is a male, but he's not a huge person in Spider-Man's rogue gallery. At least to my knowledge, I've always remembered it being a male.
It seemed like it was female.
And maybe it's his daughter or something.
And I would like seeing more like that anyways, because I love what they did with Into the Spider-Verse, where they changed like Doc Ock into a female. Like Lady
that was the best.
I actually loved her a lot more, especially with her personality and the way she is, more than any other incarnation of Doc Ock.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. But what else came out about this game?
So this game is starting to show that, so when Sony a while back said, we're doing next-gen games. We're not taking a step
We believe in generations.
Yeah, we're splitting away from Microsoft. We're making games cutting edge for the system, ground up, PS5. Miles Morales was one of them, and so was the next Horizon Forbidden West game. That was supposed to be another one that was a PS5 exclusive. And yeah, they're still exclusive, but now they're saying that they're both going to be on the PS4. Now, to a lot of people, that rub people the wrong way. They're like, okay, well, I don't want the game that I've been looking forward to be scaled back, because now it has to run on last-gen systems. Now, I was reading and watching a couple things. I don't think that they're really going to be that big of a difference, but I don't mind. I don't mind Miles Morales being on the PS4, especially now the fact that I'm not getting the PS5. But what do you think about the fact that they walked back on what they said, and again, no apology. It's almost like brushed under the rug. They're just like, oh yeah, they're gonna be on PS4 too.
I just think it's bad messaging, and it's
very
bad on their part, because it's
man.
not even just those two. Actually, Sackboy is going to be another one that's also on the PS4, and I think
those were the biggest two, though. Right?
I don't think Miles Morales to me kind of just looked like Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man game that came out. Like, I did not think it looks fun and it looks like a great game, amazing in that aspect, but graphical, like fidelity wise, it looked the same. It didn't look like it was anything great.
That game was so much faster, so much sharper.
I'm sure it loads faster, but other than that, compared to something else that we'll get to on here, was nothing.
Oh, well. Yeah.
But when Microsoft was saying, hey, we believe in generations, we're going to do whatever, they got shit on. So PlayStation is now going back on their word, and it's almost like Microsoft's damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because now that PlayStation's doing it, they're getting called out, but it's not like crazy bad like people were doing with Microsoft for Halo for trying to be inclusive with people versus going out and saying, we believe in generations, it won't be on this, we're not going to let anything hold it back, we're blah, 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 and then backpedaling on that now too.
No apology.
Almost lying on top of whatever else that is just like, again, this whole thing was just kind of marred by messaging, but either way, I think Miles Morales is a badass character, and I'm glad that lately he's been like getting his shine. I think he's a character that we need.
His dues and propers. And one of the other things they were saying of that compares it to the PS4 is now if you get the ultimate version on the PS5, that's going to come with the original Spider-Man, and that's going to be one of the first games Insomniac does that clocks in at $70. And so the game is going to be on the PS4. The Ultimate Edition on PS5 comes with that. It's going to be one of these first games where we're going to start seeing the change to where next-gen games are going to be 70. This is one of the first ones that take...
Right, some of these are, yes.
So, moving on from that, the next big game, and we got to stop here again, is Hogwarts Legacy, coming out in 2021. Now, opinions aside, guys, J.K. Rowling has been through a lot of things and says a lot of stuff. We're not letting that reflect on our show. If you guys are curious about what she's been going through and why this game is getting a little slack,
a lot of
flack and slack, go check it out. Go read into it. That's on you guys. I'll never let the artist mix with my taste of the art, and I'm always gonna love Hogwarts, and I'm always gonna love Harry Potter. So moving into it, this game actually played quite good. It was one of the few games I was going to be nervous of and saying that it looked off maybe a tad, but it actually ran quite well. It's showing you that in Hogwarts late 1800s, so that's the new timeline. You're going to be able to make your wizard and do what you got to do. I was thinking, Andrew, it looked kind of like Bully meets like Monster Hunter. Like, you're running around doing class assignments, and that's what I thought the game was going to be. I'm like, oh, you're just going to classes and doing potions, and then you find out it's an open-world RPG, and you're battling monsters, and you're battling, I don't want to call them Death Eaters, because I'm sure that was way before their time, but he's battling somebody with a mask, and I'm like, oh, there's going to be good action combat in this, and I am waiting to see how this looks.
I want to see more of it. I'm not like the craziest Harry Potter fan. I do enjoy it, so I am. I think it does look cool. I'm actually more excited by the fact that it's 1800s, because that was my big thing when I heard about this game. This game's been like rumored and leaked kind of for a while. I was like, I don't want to play a game set in like modern times, like Harry Potter times.
You're helping
Harry? Yeah, where you're helping Harry or anything like that, like some of the other games that have been out. Like, I want to play like 100 years before that or 200 years, something. I want to play in some other timeline where maybe something big does happen. Kind of like, what you want from like a Lord of the Rings or, Star Wars. Give me
I was just going to say, it's exactly what Star Wars should be doing. Stay in the universe, move out of the fucking small time frame.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about like, okay, here's this minuscule story, but the only reason we're like this is because you got Ravenclaw and Slytherin, you got these big fucking huge guys that were badass that you'll never hear anything else about, but you can deal with, just know that they set the pedestal. I'm like, okay, I want to see why they're cool. Again, same thing with Star Wars, where they had like the big Jedi Sith Wars, where there's more than 2 Sith at a time. Like, let me see that timeline, because that's far more in a way interesting than what's going on with some nerd with a scar on his head.
Yeah, so I think they took a lot of good liberties at going, let's do a game that separates ourselves. I mean, who knows? Wizards do live longer than normal people. I mean, hashtag nerd status. So maybe a Dumbledore or someone like that makes a name reference or something. But, you're going to be dealing with new characters, new villains, new things. Half the concept was like, play the game that's off the pages. And I thought that was a brilliant way to look at it. I'm like, that's perfect. That's what you need to be doing. Expand the world. Don't stay confined. So,
yeah, it's like as long as you can take A, B, and C within a set confine, but just take liberty with the stories. I feel like that's kind of what a lot of people aren't doing. Is like you get this game that's rich with history and there's all kinds of things you can do, but you're just too afraid to do it. You're too confined by certain restraints. Like, if you can't do that, then I say don't do it at all.
Yeah, and it's an awesome way that they're moving forward with that. So moving on, and we'll kind of go past a couple of these. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War showed a little bit more
with the campaign.
We're looking forward to it. It looked clean. It showed the first opening mission, fast, furious, in your face. The next one they had was Resident Evil 8 Village. It showed a little more of kind of what the lore is about. Nothing that I thought to write home about. I feel
like the more I see, again, because I haven't seen so much whatever.
We need
especially
gameplay.
coming off of 2 and 3, the remakes. Like, I'm kind of just like, I don't know if I care for this because like it's. I guess the more I look back at 7-2, I'm like, what did that really contribute to the story? Maybe that's kind of what I want going forward. But I also do I want to see gameplay instead of all this like weird out there shit, because for me that's not like what Resident Evil's pretty out there, and there's a lot of weird stuff in there, and there's some stuff that I hate about it, but for the most part it's not like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but
it took a turn.
From something that I was kind of more excited for, like I'm less excited about because I haven't seen the right thing for it yet.
The next game they showed was Deathloop, and we've been seeing this thing played to death. This has been on like every showcase, so
I feel like if anything, I'm less interested in this game now than I was before because of what I've seen from it.
Because it shows that you gotta figure out timelines and frames and stuff like that. So check that one out. Definitely still interesting, but maybe you're not skip it the game you pick up. I want to take a quick pause. They did Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Now this is gonna be a launch game for the PS5. It was my last year. Game of the year. It was the game show's game of the year for action. The game is fantastic. It hits a lot of notes for me. Gameplay, story, and the rarest one is music. I thought it was awesome. The weird thing is that it's a digital launch only. I'm curious of how that is going to play out, because if you are looking to get the new edition and play it and you want a physical copy, it's just not there. So it's just, that struck me as kind of odd of why. Next, they had Oddworld.
I kind of want to jump into is that a part of the special edition, besides the DLC and stuff that it comes with, is that it's going to be 4K 30 FPS, or you can actually just hit it at uncap the visuals, and then you're at 120 FPS with like 1080 or whatever.
Quicker,
like
faster,
that.
had more guys on the screen, more missions that you can do. I mean,
so either way, the graphics and the FPS was the big difference for this special edition.
Give me a reason to play it again. Next, I went to Oddworld Soulstorm, which was the continuation of Abe's Odyssey. So if you guys are fans of that, it showed a little more of that. The next one was Five Nights at Freddy, which I've never really played. I know it's like a spooky ass weird horror game. So
I've only seen what they are, and it's like a dude. I don't know if they're out there or more, but it's like a guy staring at a screen, and you're supposed to like stop the things from getting to you, but without actually like leaving the room that you're in. So you're like shutting doors and like shutting different things by going on like security cameras and stuff.
I just know it's
I don't know if it's the same thing either way.
I know it's a big thing at Hot Topic. You buy a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's stuff.
Five FNAF is what they call it.
The next one, guys, I know Andrew wants to talk about is the Demon Souls, and this is one of the other games that are coming out at a $70 launch. Andrew, I know this is your game, man. Talk to us a little about it.
Again, I was actually super hyped at first because this game was another one that when you go on YouTube and watch the PlayStation trailer, it said that it was going to be coming to other consoles and on PC. And they said that that is not true. Sony took that trailer down. Yeah, scratch that, reverse.
Scratch that, reverse. You gotta move forward to go backwards.
Sony took it down, and then they re-uploaded the video on YouTube just saying that it is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, which, again, I'm not mad at, but I can't really find a definitive answer as to why. Like, I've never heard anyone really say. I've looked online, tons of places.
It's not a console seller.
Is that I don't know who owns the IP for that, because Sony only did like kind of part of it, but it wasn't like enough, and it was distributed by like Atlas or whatever. I think either way, there's not a definitive reason for why it's Sony only, but either way, it is in this case made by Bluepoint Games. But this game is absolutely fucking beautiful. I thought this was the best game at the show, not because I'm excited for like Demon Souls or anything like that, because again, I'm probably not going to get a PlayStation at launch, but this game graphically to me is what next gen was. Besides Ratchet and Clank, which was good, but it's kind of cartoony, and it had all kinds of like effects and stuff like that. So I don't think it quite grabs you in the same way as this game did with its elements, its shading, the lighting, the environment that you're in. Everything was just absolutely fucking beautiful about this game. To me, this was truly the first next-gen game that we've seen so far. I thought this game was beautiful and the best game that they showed. I thought that outshined the rest of them and should have been the closer.
I was actually, so when I was watching, I thought the original games were moving a little funny. I thought it was just maybe my stream or whatever. Even by the time I got to Demon Souls, that game did look crispy and clean. Like, that is the way you do next gen. I thought maybe the trailer was a little long, showing off that everything's one kill, and then you get smashed by the fucking boss. But that is a game that looked beautiful, fantastic, and brings back Demon Souls into the forefront. And I'm very curious that do you think they're going to be all their games moving forward, like Dark Souls and all that stuff, is going to be $70? Because I mean, it's kind of clear that Insomniac is going to be moving that way. It's clear that kind of 2K is going to be moving in that direction. Do you think? I don't know if it's Blue Point that's doing them.
Blue Point does this one, but like the next Dark Souls, the next name Elden Ring, which would be from Software again, who did the original, and is not doing this one.
What are the franchises?
I think, judging by like what Sony's doing, that's going to be the next thing is $70. I can't see Microsoft like, okay, we're already we have a stronger console, but somehow we're getting it underpriced, or we're doing the cost at price. I don't think they're going to eat costs on the games like that too. You can't eat shit on the console and the software.
So the last thing they did, guys, was show Fortnite, and then they came out and said, but there's one more thing. And it was spectacular. It's the beginning of showing the God of War sign with the Norwegian mythology coming up, and it starts to pop up and it says Ragnarok is coming 2021. Now this is a game that we haven't seen since April 2018. So the fact that we're getting one next year, and I'm sure it's going to be a December.
I felt like it was pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be December though. You know what I mean? So like, it sounds like it's next year, but it's like end of next year.
But still,
so I'm sure that's what's going to happen. He gives a couple lines. He's like, the time is near. You must prepare yourself, and it just gave people goosebumps. And I mean, I didn't need to see much to just get my heart pulsing, going, oh my God, another God of War. God of War is in my top 5 favorite games of all time, and I've been looking forward greatly to the next one. And the fact, because this is a game that is not going to be on the PS4. This isn't going to be a Miles Morales that they go, oh, we're making 2. Well, at least I would assume
Who
so,
knows?
because they're saying that they want to keep the PS4 alive for 4 more years or so. And you got to have a reason for people to start buying them. Because one of the things that people keep forgetting is that once the PS5 comes out, the PS4s are going to drop in price. So if you're ever looking to get a PS4, or you're younger in the audience, PS4s are going to be dirt cheap by the time the PS5 is a year or 2021 in. And starting to play God of War 1 is going to be awesome. And then moving into God of War 2. So, I don't know. You heard the same thing I did. You saw the same thing I did. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty hype, and I mean, that's the thing, is I know I talk shit on teasers, I especially gave Microsoft shit for ending with Fable, but the thing is, I don't know what Fable is going to be, and you can't just bring this fucking dormant franchise back and be like, alright, hey, be excited, even though you don't know what the fuck it is. I know what God of War is going to be, and that was the way to do a teaser, and so I thought it was absolutely great.
Yeah, so that ended, guys, and again, check the link in the description. We're going to have all out there. If you guys didn't miss it, click the button, check it out, because it is worth your time. Just don't try to pre-order a PS5, because that is going to be gone. Andrew, we are running long on this episode. Do you want to go long, or do you want to go short? Do you want to give the fans what they want, or?
Yeah, sure. I think we have a couple questions. Might as well answer them.
Okay, let's see. Let's pull them up. So we've got questions, guys, and question 1 comes from Aubernstein, and he says, if you guys could only watch one TV show forever, what would it be? My answer is easy. It's Seinfeld. All day. I fall asleep to it every day. I take a nap to it. I love Seinfeld. I'm slowly getting Andrew over to the Sein side, because he likes watching clips. He can't wrap his head around a full episode. But Seinfeld, man, I can go day and night. Every day and every night.
I don't know a TV show that I could watch forever. If I had to say something like right now, it'd probably have to be something like Adventure Time, where like every episode is like so different. Everything is so far out there. I love the character. I love.
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about Adventure Time.
I love Adventure Time. I don't think
except for your dog being named Bimo.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't pick like a live action show, because I feel like it's so set in stone with what it's going to, where this. I mean, a lot of the episodes just go fucking wherever. So even if I were to watch them at random, a lot of them still make sense. How many seasons is it? It goes on pretty long. I don't know.
I'd want something that had long seasons. Seinfeld goes 9.
Well, yeah, but if you had to watch it forever, why does it matter if it's like one season?
Well, how soon do you want to get into repeats? You watch the repeats every year. So,
well, how many episodes of Seinfeld are good?
All of them are good.
I don't know.
Most of them are good. Half of them.
Okay.
Kind of most of them. So the next question comes from Sammy G, and she says, #round 2. That was from our last contest. I'd have to say Spore was the game I was disappointed in. The last question that was asked was, what trailer was ever seen that you were really hyped for and it was bad? Hers is Spore.
Based on the name alone, I wouldn't have even played Spore.
I actually liked Spore. Spore wasn't bad. 2008, I think, is when it came out. Looked good at the time, but not so exciting to play. How many memorabilia or collectibles do you own? Jesus. What are your top 3 favorite of those items you own, you will never get rid of, no matter what price. I think you can't really land on that. When you have a game room, memorabilia tends to stock up, especially when you go to like.
I have a ton of shit.
Yeah, any type of con. I mean, essentially every type of CGC comic book would be a piece of memorabilia. But I would say mine would be, I have a few Stan Lee comic books, and I'm gonna put that as one. My second one would be my Legolas that I have. I have Legolas. My dad has Gandalf, and Gino has Aragorn. So we all have these three big statues that kind of, symbolize that. And then my last one would be my Super Mario RPG, my favorite game, in like mint condition under ceramic that is maintained.
I'd probably have to cheat and take one as the same thing. I have a couple Stan Lee comics too, so that would have to be one. I have a watch that actually ended up breaking, but it's something that my girlfriend got me that means a lot to me from Full Metal Alchemist. It's Edward Elric's pocket watch, and it has like the date and everything like that engraved on the inside. So that would be my second one because I absolutely love that. And then I think if I had to go my third, I mean, I've got kind of a lot of cool stuff, but I have a Jurassic World lunchbox.
Ooh.
And I think that's one of my favorite things.
Bringing a lunch over here.
It's actually, when you bought it, it came with the Blu-ray too. I haven't even opened the Blu-ray. It's still, I don't even think I've opened the box ever once. Nice. It's just sitting there on my shelf. So I'm like a big fan of like lunchboxes. I just don't buy them because then I'll have like a bunch of fucking tin everywhere. But that's the one lunchbox I ended up buying was that. So
I like it. Next question comes from Dominique Moore, who is our last winner from the last contest.
Congratulations again.
She won a game of her choice. So, question: would you guys rather be an Avatar from Avatar: Last Airbender, or have the Force? No dark side temptations, just all Force powers with no cons.
I think I'd rather be the Avatar because that universe I think is far better than Star Wars.
Are we in said universe or living today? Or living here and now?
My answer would still be Avatar.
You still be Avatar?
Yeah.
Dude, Jedi can already do lightning, which is firebending. You can already do kind of a healing, because there's no dark side, so you have all powers.
Yeah, but imagine, like, I could be a millionaire because I could be a successful contractor because I could build a mansion in, like, 2 minutes with my fucking hands with my rock building.
That's not bad.
Like, that's the thing.
I thought you'd be holding on to that answer.
No, I could like build I could be some dude who lives in fucking California that builds pools for a living. I could provide the water and the land to do it. Like, I'd be rich as fuck.
But you'd be in crazy Avatar state.
You don't have to be to use it. You can do all four no matter what.
Okay.
Imagine like let me give you a more general answer. How many times do you go and get food and it comes out cold and you can just give it a little heat?
A Jedi could do that.
No.
Yeah.
Blow it all away.
If I could live in space like fucking Princess Leia did and go back, I'm doing Jedi.
There's
if I could change people's
in
minds, I would do something like that. If I could jump and move, dude, think of how many tournaments you could win. I mean, you'd be a celebrity doing shit like that.
Yeah, you would be too as the Avatar because you could fly.
Oh, you could jump really high as a Force user. I don't know. I think I'm taking the Force.
Nah.
No?
You're wrong, my friend.
Could we work together? Could I be your bodyguard and your contractor? Oh, I'm really curious what your answer is. I'm curious what everyone else's answer is. Like, I want to hear what CN says.
Probably nothing.
Next one comes from... Did I miss one? 1, 2,
No, that's the
3,
last one.
4. Kyler Johnson. Kyler Johnson says, so do you guys think the extra $200 for the Series X is worth it? What's the upside? Also, will I be able to keep my games that have been digitally downloaded to my Xbox if I trade that in? Thanks, fellas. Love getting to tune into YouTube, but don't forget to send it to iTunes. Yeah, so question or a quick thing on that is, so when I upload it to YouTube, I try to make it sooner than the podcast gets it, because Andrew and I are essentially wanting to do a YouTube show, podcast secondary. So I always want the YouTube show to be like a day or two beforehand, but when a couple days go by, I try to do it for Sunday or Monday. But when a couple days goes by and you completely forget to upload it, I've lately told Andrew, I'm like, dude, remember, if you don't see it on Monday, like, you got to let me know. Kyler, if you don't see it on Monday, start letting me know, because, like, it'll completely space my mind when 3 days go by.
I was just looking through my podcast today, and I was like, oh, Craig forgot again, and I forgot to tell him.
I was like, I told Andrew. But as far as, do you think it's extra, man, that's completely up to you. The reason the Series X is designed, the reason why the Series S is designed is to take the bigger bundle price out of your hands and to get physical media out of your hands, because as we can, there's never been a time where two SKUs of a system, same system for one, different systems for the other, have been launched at the same time, representing digital, because that's slowly where the trend is going. We are moving to digital, and they see that. That's why these systems are offered. Now, if you are still a big fan of physical media, then yeah, the $200 is worth it. But you really got to remember, it's not so much just the disc that's being part of it. It's you're going to see. Maybe not so much the PS5, but like especially the Xbox, you're going to be seeing fast. It's just going to be faster and more powerful, and it's going to look cleaner. The bigger thing to look forward to outside of disc, I would say, is no load times.
Right,
it's going to be a big thing. I would say 200 if you like to have the physical media, because here's the other thing: if you've got old games, it's going to play it all. The Series X is going to play all your old physical media. So if you have it, yes. If you don't, then completely not.
I think if you're going digitally already, then sure, why not? The biggest difference between the two is just me graphics. Like, you might not even have the TV that's able to run like 120 FPS or even 4K. Thing, yeah. But the Series S will upgrade you to 4K. That's what they said. And I mean, there's snobs out there who say they can see the difference. I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of a difference, but it's not day and night. Like, one's great and one's dog shit for between how they look. But again, that's just the start of this generation. So who knows if later on when we get down, and they haven't said anything, they said the biggest thing's just going to be the graphic. You're not going to get that 8K. I don't even have an 8K TV. Those are expensive as hell. But I don't know if that's down the road going to create a problem. Like, okay, the next Call of Duty can run at 120 FPS on this console, but it's only going to do 60 FPS on that. I wouldn't imagine so, because that's the way they've made it sound. But again, they could always be wrong. There could be some sort of issue or something. So that's something you have to think about too. But again, you could buy one for now, trade that in later towards a new one, and who knows, maybe you'll get 200 or sell it online for 200 versus the 299, and then put whatever when you have the money. But if you're not a graphics snob, then if I didn't really care about like having, even if I don't use some of the shit, I'm one of those people, like I bought like a brand new iPhone, the best one that they had, and I don't even use half of it. But I'm just one of those people that maybe I will use it, so I would like to get it. So I'm going to get the next Xbox. I do have a 4K TV. My TV does run at 120 FPS. It's not going to do 8K, but I don't care about that. So either way, I'm already right there, not getting a feature, because I don't have an up to 8K TV. Who knows how many games are going to be up to 8K? That's a later problem. Yeah, but I'm paying for that feature now, so again, it's all just kind of where you're going to be comfortable at. And the way you have to look at it too is, okay, you could spend cheaper now and then just buy another one later on. Maybe they'll create like a smaller console like they always do. They always do like a revamped something, a smaller console, a cheaper console. You can get it on a Black Friday, maybe on a good trade deal. Maybe you gamble and you hit $400 fucking over at the casinos or something like that. In which case you can go and do whatever. If it's not obtainable for you right now, I wouldn't try to stretch your dollar for it, because I wouldn't say it's worth it.
Yeah, price is definitely the big thing. If $200 is burning a hole in your pocket and you want just the best right now, then go for it. If not, I think this is why they made the Series S, because the Series X can't, like Andrew's saying, most people don't have TVs. Most people don't know the difference between 4K and 1080 and then what 8K is going to be. Most people don't have the HDMI cable that even makes the difference between having 4K and 1080. So I think what Series X is trying to do is for the hardcore tech head, the hardcore spec head, is they want this is what's going to happen in the next few years. This thing's prepared to do where we're going. But if you're not looking to do any of that, the Series S is ready for you right now at the lowest price ever possible, and it's going to upscale you, at least for the time being, running into it. I would like one day one, because I still want a disc drive for mine. There's a lot of old games I want to pop in and play.
I mostly just have movies. I do have a lot of like anime movies.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
Because the other thing is, what happens when your internet goes out and you can't play anything and nothing works? The Game Pass doesn't work. You still want to play something. That's happened to me a lot recently. My internet goes out and I can't play nothing. Oh, cool. But my Far Cry...
Well, that's only because we game share.
...is on there. What's that?
That's only because we game share. If your console is your home console, the game... Like, games you've downloaded, you can still play.
Oh, is it just... Everything you have downloaded, but you can't download anything new.
You won't be able to download anything new, but you can still play your digital games.
But anything you still have backed up on media or movies is still going to slide right in and play. So there's always a benefit, but it's $200 with that benefit. I think it's completely subjective. To me, I think, yeah, because I wanted one anyway, and moving on forward, I'm going to be upgrading all my TVs and stuff like that. If $200 isn't affordable, or you're going to keep it the way your stuff is, then you'll probably never know the difference.
I would upgrade these two in here now this year, because...
Well, that's what I'm waiting on for Black Fridays.
Damn.
Those are fucking still running smooth. What do you have in yours? You're still Black Friday-ass TVs?
Yeah, that are 4K 120 FPS.
Those sold these.
That one barely turns on.
Oh my god! Only because you couldn't beat Last of Us 1 on that TV. You're gonna hold a grudge. God. You gonna hold a grudge against that TV? That TV's been like a brother to you.
His
It
mother
comes
was
in,
mother?
it tucks you in. So we are at 50. Do you want to go over real quick what you're playing right now before?
I'm not really playing anything. Just lots of Call of Duty. For some reason, like I found myself like back into it, so I'm playing that like every day. Kind of trying to play the Division, but someone else is never online, so I can't play without them.
Your cousin?
Yeah.
Your cousin's never online? I knew he was trouble.
He's doing lots of schoolwork right now, so
The fool.
I'm gonna try to just finish Avengers. Gonna try to get back in Immortal Shell, but yeah, mostly just Call of Duty. So if you want to jump in on some Call of Duty, I'm on like every night.
Nice. I only bring it up because I want to say I beat Avengers, and I just want to be clear. The storyline is fantastic. It's the glitches and the end game stuff that I think I had a problem with.
Can you tell them about it?
I
only bring it up because it's so extreme. Just the one. The one.
Right.
So we were talking after last week's with so many issues and everything that the game was having that we found out when you call in the Hulkbuster suit, I guess apparently the Hulkbuster suit's supposed to show up for you on the map, and you got to go over to it and get in. I'm telling Craig, I'm like, yeah, the Hulkbuster's great. He's like, yeah, if you can get to it, you get your ass beat on the way there. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It just shows up for me, and I showed him, too. When I call him the Hulkbuster, I don't have to go anywhere. It just fucking spawns on me, and I go to town.
Mine, I had to run 20 feet and then get hit by every goddamn thing. I'm like, dude, Hulkbuster sucks.
And then we called Gino, too, to confirm with him, to make sure. He's like, no, it just spawns on me. So for him, for some reason, it doesn't spawn on him and put him in it automatically. He's got to run like 40 feet.
And when I played it today, because I finally finished it, it never fixed itself. So that for mine is still there. And then we both agree that there's missing dialogue on the ending scene that kind of takes you out. But I would say overall, the game was good. But I would
solid 4 out of 10.
I would still wait if you're going to buy this game, especially if you're going to do the grind and do the loot grind and all that stuff. Wait till the game's a little cheaper. I don't know if $60 is the price. Still got to play Far Cry New Dawn with Denny. So Denny, if you're seeing this, let's play it. And then I just started the Dark Crystal tactics game that just came on the Game Pass, which was a game I'm glad I didn't buy $20 ago, 6 months ago. So all done with that. So guys, we mentioned that there's going to be a new contest. So let's just be extremely brief with it. Our idea that we're still kicking around the office is that when we launch it, and unlike PS5, we will let you know when the contest starts.
Day and date.
We're thinking about getting someone either the digital PS5 or the Xbox Series S.
Yeah, so it'll be your choice whether you want a digital PlayStation 5 or a digital monsters. A digital Xbox S. So either way, once we iron out the details, we'll let you know. But stay tuned so that way you don't miss a beat.
Yeah, so make sure you guys, again, if you guys are looking to get into entering the drawings, you get more eyes on us because the more people you have rooting in your corner, the more chances you have of actually winning it.
And make sure you're subscribed, too. There's a lot of people out there who enter stuff and are not subscribed for some reason.
As soon as the contest is done, you're gone!
Yeah, you have to be subscribed to win. We will not even write you, hey, subscribe, man, you won, or you're entered, whatever. I'll just throw your shit away. You have to be subscribed.
I seen them do it. So, guys, if you want to check us out on social media, follow us on Facebook at LastCall928, or you can just go to LastCallGaming. Follow us on Instagram at LastCall Productions. Follow us on Twitter at LastCallProdz. If you guys want to submit a question, do it in the comments or send us an email at LastCallProductions@gmail.com. If you want to follow the audio-only podcast like Kylie Johnson does, check us out on iTunes. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on CastBox, all under Last Call Gaming, and I'm sure links to other podcast feeds. So that is the end of this episode, and this was a beefy episode, my man.
It was a good one.
So guys, until next time, my name is Craig Perales, and that is the man Drew Montemayor. Cheers.
See ya.
I was going to talk about The Boys. Have you started watching it?
No. And I started watching Daredevil and quit like halfway through, and I just haven't. Not because it's bad, I just haven't watched it.
I just don't get why you haven't started The Boys on Amazon.
I don't know, man. I'm just like such a like.
Dude, it's a shit. I'm telling you. You're going to want to binge all of them.
Probably, but.
Especially now that there's 14
It's the same
episodes.
reason like Umbrella Academy. Have not started it, have not watched it.
I would say. I would say watch The Boys before you watch Umbrella Academy.
I watched it, Chapter 2. It was good.
Especially that you're into gruesome shit and deaths and killing. Like, what's the holdup, bub?
I don't know. I really honestly don't know what it is. I think my thing lately is I don't like watching anything new. Because even the other day, I could have watched the past few days, actually, so the past week, I'll be honest. I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to get back into Daredevil and finish watching and then finish Punisher. But they re-added Casino Royale to fucking Netflix, and I've been watching that like every day.
I was just going to say, I was going through Netflix's line, because I was going to take a nap like a couple days ago, and I was like, I want something I can just fall asleep to, because I'm tired of listening to, like, It's Always Sunny or Malcolm in the Middle. And I was going through Netflix's lineup. I'm like, dude, to us? No, that's how I start my day. Falling back asleep. And I was looking at Netflix's lineup. I'm like, damn, they got a lot of good stuff on there. And I saw a lot of the 007 stuff.
They just added like a new one on there, and I'm like, okay, cool. I can't wait to watch that, Casino Royale.
Back to that. Yeah, man, just do it up. I'm telling you, an episode.
Even after It Chapter 2, I went back and watched like the original fucking one when I was at home at night all snuggled. I was like, okay, cool. I'll watch Daredevil right now, but I was like, I kind of want to watch the original It now, even though I know it's not good. I'll just sit there on my phone and not pay attention while it's on.
Dude, I'm telling you, this trumps all Daredevil. Watch The Boys. You are going to not regret it. I'm telling you, do me a solid.
No, it looks
I do
good.
So much for you.
I've seen some scenes from it. It shows up on
I don't want
Facebook.
you to see scenes from it. I'm tired of you watching
either.
scenes from things. I want you to watch it.
I
want to discuss dialogue.
It shows up on like my Facebook. It was like Homelander he like fucks up saving a plane that ends up like crashing, and he's like, all right, see ya. And the chick's there like, well, we can save all these people. He's like, nah, they're gone. Like, fucking see ya. I'm like, oh god, all right.
I'm telling you, you're gonna like it.
I think Homelander looks cool as fuck.
What show would you want me to watch if I want you to watch The Boys? And that way we can reconvene.
I couldn't name a show because I don't know anything that you... I couldn't name a single show that I watched that you haven't.
That doesn't sound right.
Except for like The Walking Dead, maybe.
Ugh. That's way too many seasons. I'm giving you a second season show that's not even halfway through season 2.
Then watch 2 seasons of The Walking Dead.
I've already seen season 1.
Then watch 2 and 3.
No.
2's actually good though.
Oh.
Because then I can start doing my Walking Dead impressions that I've had sitting around for a little bit.
Do them. I'll probably guess them.
No.
I'll start watching scenes. Give me scenes to watch.
Ooh. Like I do with Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get his stand-up. I get it for the time I get. Actually, I don't even get it for the time. Like, it's just not funny. Well, you got 2